Did you know that 20% of the people identify themselves as chronic procrastinators? Yes, you heard it right. 1 in 5 people are putting off their tasks right now. That's a rather staggering statistic, isn't it? Procrastination, the act of delaying or postponing tasks, is a common predicament that many of us find ourselves in. It sneaks in subtly, convincing us that we have ample time and that we can always do the task later. But as the clock ticks on, later becomes never, and the work is left undone. The impacts of procrastination are far-reaching. It affects our productivity, our mental health, and even our relationships. It's a habit that we need to overcome to lead more fulfilling and successful lives. So if you are part of this 20%, or even if you're not, keep watching as we unveil 10 strategies to overcome procrastination. Meet John. John always had trouble starting his tasks, but one day he decided to work for just 5 minutes. John was a classic procrastinator, always pushing tasks to the last minute. Then he discovered the 5-minute strategy. One afternoon, he sat down to tackle a project he'd been putting off. He told himself, "Just 5 minutes, John, that's all." And so he began. The first 5 minutes rolled by and something interesting happened. John found that he was immersed in the task and didn't want to stop. The initial inertia had been overcome and he was in the flow. Before he knew it, an hour had passed and he was making significant progress on his project. This strategy worked wonders for John. By committing to just 5 minutes, he tricked his brain into starting, and once he started, it was easy to keep going. And just like that, John overcame his initial resistance. You too can try the 5-minute start. Now let's talk about Sarah. Sarah had a huge project to tackle, and she didn't know where to start. Sarah, like many of us, was initially overwhelmed. She had a mountain of work ahead of her and no clear path forward. But then she had an idea. Instead of looking at the project as one colossal task, she broke it down. Sarah split her project into smaller, manageable tasks. She made a list, categorizing each task based on its importance. Then she started tackling each task one by one. The more she crossed off her list, the less intimidating her project seemed. She found that breaking down her project made it less daunting, more manageable. It was no longer a beast to be feared, but a series of steps to be taken. Breaking her task down, Sarah made her project less overwhelming. This strategy could be your game changer too. Next, we have Peter. Peter always had vague goals and struggled to achieve them. Peter was a dreamer, always reaching for the stars, but never quite grasping them. His goals were lofty, like become a successful entrepreneur, but the path to get there was murky. One day, Peter stumbled upon the concept of SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. He decided to give it a try. Instead of his vague goal of becoming a successful entrepreneur, he set a specific goal: to start a local bakery within a 6-month timeline. He then broke it down into measurable, achievable steps like drafting a business plan, securing funding, and finding a location. With these SMART goals, Peter saw a huge improvement. He had clear direction, and he knew exactly what he needed to do to achieve his dreams. The path wasn't so murky anymore, and he was finally able to grasp those stars he'd been reaching for. By setting SMART goals, Peter turned his dreams into reality. You too can set specific goals and see the magic unfold. Next up is Mary. Mary always got distracted while working. She'd start on the task, then her phone would ping, or an email would come in, or she'd suddenly remember something she wanted to look up online. Before she knew it, an hour would have passed and she'd have nothing to show for it. But Mary decided she had had enough. She started by identifying her main distractions: her phone, her email, the internet. She started small. She'd turn off her phone for an hour, or close her email program, or use an app to block distracting websites. It was tough at first. She felt like she was missing out, but as she persisted, she noticed something amazing. She was getting more done. She was finishing tasks she'd been putting off. She was feeling less stressed and more accomplished. By eliminating distractions, Mary found her focus. This could be your key to productivity. Now let's meet George. George never felt motivated to do his tasks. He was always stuck in a cycle of procrastination, unable to muster the drive to get things done. But then George discovered a simple yet powerful trick: rewarding himself. Just like training a puppy, George began associating task completion with positive outcomes. He started small, treating himself to a cup of his favorite coffee after finishing a report, or indulging in an episode of his favorite show after a long day of work. Slowly but surely, this system of rewards began to work its magic. George found himself looking forward to completing tasks, not because of the tasks themselves, but because of the rewards that awaited him. His productivity soared and the habit of procrastination started to fade away. George's story is a testament to the power of rewards in combating procrastination. George found motivation in rewards. Maybe it's time you reward yourself too. Lastly, we have Emma. Emma never felt the pressure to finish her tasks. In fact, she often found herself staring at a mountain of unfinished work, growing larger with each passing day. She was caught in a cycle of procrastination, a cycle she desperately wanted to break. Then Emma had a brilliant idea. She decided to make her tasks and deadlines public. She shared her goals with friends, family, even her social media followers. Suddenly, Emma was no longer just accountable to herself, she was accountable to everyone who knew about her goals. This public accountability created a sense of urgency that Emma had never experienced before. She felt compelled to finish her tasks, not just for herself, but for all those who were now invested in her success. The once daunting mountain of work started to shrink task by task until it was nothing more than a molehill. Emma became accountable and achieved her goals. Perhaps it's time you make your goals public. So, we've shared some strategies to overcome procrastination, and now it's your turn. Think about it, we've been on quite a journey together. We've delved into the predicament of procrastination, explored the 5-minute start, discovered the power of task breakdowns, and navigated the significance of setting specific goals. We've also journeyed through the epic concept of eliminating distractions, the rewarding chronicle of treating oneself, and the pivotal account of accountability. Each of these strategies, although distinct, is connected by a common thread, the desire to overcome procrastination. It's a journey that's not solely about finishing tasks or ticking off items on a to-do list. It's about personal growth, self-improvement, and ultimately leading a more productive and fulfilling life. Now it's time to take these strategies and make them your own. Try them out, experiment with them, and see what works best for you. Remember, there's no one-size-fits-all solution to overcoming procrastination. It's a personal journey that requires introspection, experimentation, and determination. The importance of overcoming procrastination cannot be overstated. It's not just about getting more work done or being more efficient. It's about unlocking your potential, achieving your goals, and living the life you've always dreamed of. Procrastination can be a formidable barrier, but with these strategies, it's one that you can overcome. As you embark on this journey, remember to be patient with yourself. Change takes time, and overcoming procrastination is no exception. It's a process, a journey, and every step you take, no matter how small, is a step in the right direction. So take these strategies, test them, tweak them, and make them your own. And as you do, remember, this is your story. It's about your growth, your journey, and your success. And remember, the first step to overcoming procrastination is to start. So why wait? Start now and make your own success story.